folks, Nashtaters here with another SiNoAlice video. So today we're going to do a short video of how to do a reroll on the global release of SiNoAlice. So I know my first video that I made, it was kind of long and I didn't really actually have any visual showing. So what I did was I went back and did another quick account just to kind of show you the footage here. So basically after the downloading screens, you're going to come to this screen. It's going to say Grimoire times 11. This is where the reroll begins. You don't actually physically have to do anything to the game other than just sit here and reroll until you get what you want. Here I'll tell you what are the stuff they're featuring in the rerolling. There's a Tome of Independence, Staff of Bondage, and the Sword of Depravity. So basically those are going to be the ones that you're going for. The thing with this game is your heavy emphasis is going to be on weapons. So what you're looking for to get a really good start is look for weapons of the same classes. Meaning if you're going for a sword user, then you want to go for different swords in your roll. If you're going for a staff, then try to get as many as possible, and then you can decide if you want to keep that or not. Let's go ahead and just start it and then just keep talking about it. So the summoning effect is basically you pull on this little rope, kind of like a theater effect. And then here you can see the books drop down. These different color one, the white one / silver one, whatever color you perceive that to be, are gonna be your bigger ones. They're ones that you really want. The bronze ones, or these chocolate looking color ones, are gonna be the ones that are gonna be just regular weapons. So here, ideally, you want to be SR, because SR are going to be the best grade possible for your weapons. So as always, they will show you the lesser rarity ones. And so here you have an S and you have an SR. So here I got a Naive Miracle Staff. So this one is not a good roll, obviously, because I only have one SR, and then even the S weapon is not as good in terms of matching my SR. So here you are, you're going to be re-rolling here. Summon another Grimoire. And you're going to be doing this process pretty much until you are finally deciding on which to keep. To get a strong start, you have to kind of figure out what class you want to play. Over the longevity of the game, you're going to be able to open up all sorts of classes. And you're going to be able to play any class you want, really pretty much anytime you want. But bear in mind, you can only play with one class at a time in combat. No matter what it is that you do, whether you want to do PvP or do story mode, you can only select one class. So clearly, the way to get a start is you have to figure out which class. Oh, I got a Cinderella Breaker. So this is how this works, right? Once you get a weapon, then that weapon will unlock the character, your name, and the type or / class, so to speak. This is the type, and this type will indicate which weapons you want to equip her with, therefore opening up the class of that specific character. So I got the Blade of Depravity, and that opened up Cinderella Breaker. So the Breaker class is the class for melee damage. So you want to ideally get a bunch of swords and melee weapons to increase her physical attack. So as you can see, this one, again, is not that good because it's kind of spread all over the place. I did get an A-class sword, but ideally you want 1 or 2 SR swords, or SR sword and an SR something else, but then you have a bunch of S swords or whatever specifically you're trying to match. Maybe like spears or guns and stuff like that. So there are, I think, 8 classes in this game. There's Cleric, Paladin, Gunner, Sorcerer. I think it's actually Mage, my apologies. Well, this one is a terrible roll. I think it's Mage, and I think there's a Swordsman. Kind of like your typical base jobs in most RPGs. Of course, they also come with the cliched descriptions of those jobs, right? Cleric would be a healer, supporter. Mage would be doing some damage. Swordsman is going to be doing some slash attacks, and etc., etc. So, step 1, pick the job you want to play with, but bear in mind you're going to be able to play with all kinds of jobs later on. Step 2, pick a 11 pool that you get satisfied with in terms of matching weapons. Now, some people might try to open up a new class, or they're only going for specific weapons of the job they're selecting. What I did was I picked the cleric, and I got 2 staves, and therefore for me I'm going to stick with the cleric class for now as a beginning first several days of gameplay. That should get me through all the story modes. I shouldn't have any problems. But ideally there is no real what class is better than another or which unit does more damage than the other. Ultimately it boils down to how much work you put into the weapon upgrades and which weapons you draw. Like damage wise, they should pretty much all be about the same as healing. It really boils down to, like I said, ultimately how far you can go in terms of making those weapons stronger. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So just keep doing this until you're satisfied. I think the most I've seen in terms of the silver books was 7. But they were, the one I got, it was all over the place. So this one, I open up the lantern, so as you can see, it does magic attack. So yeah, a lot of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory. All you gotta do is click on it and it explains to you what it does. Just bear in mind, each weapon does different things in terms of where you take it. So for example, story, it does this. Coliseum, it does the same thing, but the Coliseum also has additional effect in terms of Coliseum support. So it triggers something in terms of when you're taking it to Coliseum. The Coliseum is basically PvP. It is actually guild PvP. It's a live, real-time PvP where you have 15 people versus 15 people, and you have to be physically there, clicking on your skills and whatnot. So it's kind of exciting and somewhat maybe limiting for some folks, but that's something to keep in mind as well. So again, I wish you luck on your rerolls. Try to get the, like I said, beating a dead horse here. Try to get weapon sets that match each other so you can get a really solid start. Alright, so I'm going to be putting out a lot more videos on this game. I'm really enjoying it so far. Until next time, take care of yourself and your loved ones. And please, if you want to support this channel and you like this content, subscribe. Until next time, Nashtaters out of here.